Hello everyone, welcome to the vlog numero tres. I really just wanted to put a video out, and I will admit that after giving myself the task to just record, I managed to grab my camera and press record on both artsy things and personal things for the previous two videos. But for this one, I cut that down a little bit and really just recorded artsy stuff. So we're gonna move forward into a compilation of a bunch of creative things that I got myself into for the tail end of 2024. And it really showcased how many things I will always have my hands on at the same time. I do have a generally large project, one or two projects that I'm working on, and you'll see about that further into this video. I like to insert small tasks, little projects, and that kind of keeps my momentum going so that I don't get bored or I stay inspired. You know, if I step away from something, then I can't wait to get back to it. But I allow myself to step away when I feel like I do need the break, you know, but I'm not creating. Anyway, this here is me creating a frame. I built it, I cut it, I glued it, and the goal was to make a floating frame. Now, if you know what that is and you've made one, or you know what it is, you haven't made one, whatever the case, don't come for me. This is my first time doing it. It was super DIY. I'm a DIY girly if I don't care about the quality, and that's what happened here. And it was really fun. I am so happy with the results. It is a little raggedy, but hey, that's part of it. It brings character, as the people say. It's really funny, this light orange isn't even the orange that you'll see at the end there. I mixed too much white in there like a crazy person. Either way, I utilized it to fill in my cracks and gaps and stuff. Very similar to priming something. But there it is. It's cute. I love it. I am Z the Builder. Now, this is a very random little insert of me drawing something that I have not finished. So basically, I was given an assignment by my life coach. I'm no longer seeing this life coach. I have pivoted back to therapy, so I don't have sessions with them, which is also why I did not finish this project. The assignment was to think about what I thought it would look like to have the present version of myself speaking to a younger version of myself. And that younger version of me is, I don't know, 4 or 5 in this image. And it was brought to my attention that I have always thought that I was connected to my inner child pretty well, but it turns out I have put myself in the position of the protector, and my life coach was challenging me to be my inner child's friend, but I didn't finish. And what you see here is what it still looks like today. So I don't know, maybe I'll finish it later and we can talk about it more and my thoughts and what I learned. For now, I still wanted to share in case maybe you're out there as someone that likes to be introspective, likes to put themselves in like the mindset of self-growth and things like that. So the way that this drawing looks in my head is really sick. I hope I really can finish it someday, but for now, it's not prioritized. Alright, we're not actually destroying. Destroying might have been a dramatic choice of word, but we're gonna cover it up. It's going to cease to exist as the way it looked just a few seconds ago. So I'm covering it up with gesso. I've never actually used gesso, and actually, if you follow me on Instagram, I spoke a lot about this painting and how experimental it was going to be. Experimental it was, because it's already happened. But I wanted to see what would happen if I gessoed an already gessoed board, like the ones that you buy. I wanted to see what would happen with adding texture to the gesso. Super experimental, feeding into my curiosity, and overall just learning what I like and don't like. as I see myself beginning to paint bigger, more intentional paintings. So I had a very open mind about it, didn't have a lot of high expectations, but I ended up liking it so much. The end result, there were a few things that I learned that I didn't like, very specific to the whole gesso thing. Wait, LOL, this tube of orange or like red orange paint was broken at the very top, so when I opened it and squeezed out the paint, it also came out from the other end and got all over my hand. Overall, I'm so happy with the painting. I did think a lot about whether I wanted to share the meaning of this painting, how it came about in my head, and I decided maybe not really, at least not here on this video, imprinted forever in the history of the World Wide Web. If you ask me in person and if I am at liberty to share, then I'll do so. I really just wanted to share the process and speak of it in the most on the surface ways. I worked really hard on these flowers on trying to figure out what kind of blue I wanted. I'm going to use the word rule, but we all know that we get taught all these rules in art or photography. There have been some mentions from artists that have kind of taught me things that sometimes, again, not all the time, but sometimes it's easier on the eyes when you use the same temperature in color. But in this painting, I really broke this rule and I was really happy about the way that I did it, or whenever I chose to do it. The blue was one. The sky is super warm. And then when I was painting the flowers, I was still using the same warm blue. But in the end, I decided to tone them with a much cooler one. And I was really happy with that look. I think it made them pop a bit more. So I'm using the warmer one just because it's a more opaque blue and it's easier to use to blend it with the black that I made. My black was also a little bit too watered down or diluted, so it did make it hard, but I ended up just using it that way, trusting the process. And once I felt like the blended petals looked A1 sauce, I toned all of them with the cooler blue. As you see, the ears looked very unfinished. I mean, the whole thing is unfinished, but the ears looked unfinished now and they remained that way to the end of the painting. I always kind of really like to leave behind some work in progress parts in my work. Not in every painting that I've done, but I just like the look of something unfinished right next to something not finished. Like whenever I approach someone's work in progress, I just love the way that looks. Like the very messy lines, the paint just kind of being blocked in right next to nicely blended out colors or whatever your style is. Leaving the ears undone was intentional. Even the eyes too. At the end you'll see the whole dog really. It's just not completely finished, but I really loved that part and I hope you do too.
currently 1 p.m. and I'm making lunch. I have some hot and sour fried rice there, and I'm gonna cook an egg because I have no tofu left. Currently, I am trying to figure out. So,
Earlier in the video, I had mentioned that you would hear me talk about a bigger project, a larger project, and this is one of them. A Place to Bury Strangers is a photo book that I had an idea to make years ago. Once upon a time, I worked for a retail company, a clothing retail company that was going out of business, was giving away all their stuff, including mannequins, bust forms. And I saw them and thought this would be a great experiment to see what I can do with these mannequins. Let's see what I can capture. I did not have a solid theme at that point, but within the year and throughout the years, I have had this very specific theme that has definitely changed over time in the way that I'm going to execute it and present it. But at the core of it, it's still about loss and grief, which, if you haven't noticed, a lot of my art is. I don't want to go into too much detail about the specifics of what the publication will look like. The book is actually going to be split into 3 parts, but again, I'll probably talk about those in detail throughout different vlogs. What I'm showing now is the very beginnings of me proceeding with it. I actually tried to make it and start it. It's honestly been like 10 years. It's been a really long time since I have had these. They have haunted me and they have followed me. As difficult as it was to feel inspired or motivated, I think at the end of the day, being here at this time, really feeling like I know exactly what I want it to look like, it just made sense. Like that's just what the process is sometimes. You'll start a project, leave it unfinished, it'll live unfinished like that for a while, or sometimes you'll have ideas and you can start them and execute them in one day. Like it's always just different, or it has been for me at least. And this one was just one that has taken a lifetime, it feels like. As I said, I will definitely be talking about it and sharing the whole process throughout different vlogs. And what you see here is simply just taking all of the ideas that I had written in journals, post-its, actual photos that I did take that will be included into the publication, and just spreading it all on one wall so I can visually see everything that I have. Just a timeline of how it has morphed into what it will be today, what I've decided for it to be today. And I still will be shooting some things really soon too that you'll see in different vlogs. And overall, it's just, you're just here for the ride, for the process of another photo book. Since my last photo book was Void of Sound, Far From Town, it's been a really long time. It's been a while. I'm excited.
If you liked the story, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like it, and share it with friends and family.
The footage you saw earlier in the video with the dog painting, I think that was around September. And what you're about to see is November footage. Once I varnished the painting, I knew that I didn't want to leave it as a flat board. I just wasn't sure if I was going to make a frame similar to the other painting or mount it on something, and I chose to mount it, which was super fun, so great. I have so many flat boards that I want to just get through, and I actually think I will be mounting a lot of them on wood panels. I could have definitely put this footage in that order to have a good flow of beginning to end in terms of the painting, but I wanted to be honest about the timeline of certain pieces. I feel like sometimes we're trying to cut everything down to be digested in a very short video. I always want to validate myself and other artists that can take a while to finish things. And it could be for a plethora of reasons. It could be because of work, lack of inspiration, motivation, or maybe not lack of inspiration or motivation in general when it comes to creating, but just to a specific piece. The process of making decisions as to how to finish something too. Like I mentioned earlier, I wasn't sure how I wanted to frame this, or even if I wanted to frame it, especially when you want to be really intentional about your artwork. So I decided to put it towards the end of this video because it also was just really satisfying to finish it, and I love it, and I just wanted to end on a really nice note, like just a breath of fresh air, because it was like, this is off my to-do list now and I'm so happy with it and I love it.